Welcome to the Lou&Sue podcast.
Where we chat about life, love, and what we've learned.
So grab your cutest mug
and join us.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Lou&Sue podcast. Today's episode is Beat It.
The ick factor.
The ick factor.
So if you guys don't know, I'm going to read you the definition, the Urban Dictionary definition for ick. So and I didn't know what this was till like 6 months ago. So if you don't know, it's okay.
Yeah.
Something someone does that is an instant turn off for you, making making you instantly hate the idea of being with them romantically.
Yes.
So we had this, I don't remember why we were talking about this. Why were we talking about this? Well, Lou's going to be possibly dating. And we were talking about like deal breakers versus preferences.
Right.
And how there's a difference between like, you know, when you're dating somebody, like you wouldn't even go on a date with them if you knew, like, for instance, that they did drugs or something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Versus like, I don't know. Well, that's the whole idea, really.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
So we figured we wanted to be a little more of a lighthearted kind of thing for this one. We may do another one later if I have more examples of kind of ick things that I've experienced.
I told her she has to date because if for no other reason, then we just
need
content and funny dating stories. So, and since now I'm old and married and boring, I need you to do that. So, anyways, so I interviewed a few people this week and asked what their ick factors were. A lot of them, if they're in relationships, they were like, well, I don't know. It's been so long since I dated. I'm like, come on, even not necessarily dating wise, but like for friendships or coworkers, like what are things that bother you? So for me, my biggest thing is I do have misophonia. I don't know, probably not saying that right. Misophonia. And it's when sounds trigger a negative response and it like physiologically makes me angry. My toes will like kind of clench up. And so if somebody's eating chips really loudly or smacking, chewing, popping their gum, honestly, breathing too heavy. I'm annoying myself right now because I have a throat lozenge in and I don't like the sound of the clicking against my teeth.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm annoying you.
I don't have that.
Oh,
no.
She doesn't have that.
No, I think it's rude sometimes when people are like the clicking of the gum and stuff like that. I think that's kind of rude because it's like you're making extra noise for no reason. But no, I don't.
You don't have that.
I
wish I didn't have
grossed
that.
out when someone's eating, or it's fine.
I was having that conversation with somebody at work because somebody was chewing gum, and I won't say anything because I don't want to be that person that's like, "Can you stop?" You know.
Yeah.
But they didn't even hear the person chewing. And I'm like, seriously, you can't, like, I can't unhear it.
Yeah, I don't notice it like you would notice it.
Yeah. Is your mic on? Yeah. Okay, I'm just checking.
Should be.
Okay.
I turned it on.
Because we turned them off anyway. So some of the things that I heard though from people were a gym obsession or too tanned. That was an ick for them. It was like, I don't think I've ever dated anybody that was gym obsessed or too
I haven't either. And we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording. So then we decided let's stop talking about this and like actually hit record because we're getting into conversations.
Yeah.
For me personally, I have more ick of the no ambition to do anything. I'm like, seriously, you just want to sit on the couch all day. I'm also very good at sitting on the couch all day. So I really shouldn't be that judgmental,
but work before play. Like there's a time and a place.
I'm happier. Like if I went and did a half hour or an hour workout, then I can sit on the couch.
Yeah.
I feel like gym obsessed would not be a problem to me, but I don't know. Like I feel like there's kind of different people in the gym. Yeah. Some that are like show offy, which I don't like that overall. Like I don't like cockiness, arrogance. Like that's an ick for me.
Yeah.
But if someone's obsessed with going to the gym every day because that's their therapy, that's what makes them feel good.
It's a healthy level.
That.
Yeah.
If it's a healthy thing.
Yeah.
But gym obsessed, I'm assuming that would be more of the like look at me, I have muscles.
Yeah, or they're going there to take selfies.
Or they're going to take selfies.
Increase their Instagram followers or something.
Yeah. I mean, I
think it's really important that men, I'm saying men, but like whoever you're dating, whatever, that they have something of their own. Like when I met my husband, he was a golfer or he is a golfer. And he was very concerned that I was going to be one of those girls that was like, okay, you're going golfing again. And I was like, no, go golfing because
please go.
I like my alone time and this
Yeah.
gives me space from you. And we've been together 3 years now and I'm still saying, will you go golfing? Like, he can't golf in the winter. I can't wait for the golf course to open. So I think it's important that they have things that they're interested in. So for me, if they like the gym, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Whatever they like, they're doing something.
Again, I haven't experienced that, so it's not an ick for me. But when I start actually going to the gym, like I use my apartment gym, but if I start going to like a gym and I start getting that, I will update you on that because
I think it's just
I'm sure that exists, but for me, I don't see a negative. Like if someone's going to do something healthy for themselves, cool. Maybe if they're like fully steroids and
see, I know who this person's talking about, and I'm like, yeah, it was it's ick level.
Yeah,
it's especially the tanning because like this person looks like leather now. Anyways,
the self tanning for like if they're competing kind of thing is that's actual tanning where your skin gets leather. That's gross.
There's no melanoma involved with the rub-on tan.
Yes, the rub-on's good.
Yeah,
because I get that that's part of competing is that you do that.
Yeah,
I think that's very extreme. I have no interest in doing any of that myself, but I do know that people like to do that. And at first, it used to gross me out, and now that I'm actually watching like a podcast of these two girls that are bodybuilders, and I'm like, again, that's an extreme level that I'm not interested in. But I have a lot more. I don't know, respect for them now than I would have because I just assumed they were all on steroids and that was it. Yeah. It's not. Some people can do it.
Well, I have dated guys who had an ick factor from me going to the gym at all. Yeah. Because they thought mentality that women shouldn't be muscular.
That personality, that comment is ick for me.
Yeah.
Because what I love is I'll see the post like, oh, you look like a man. It's like, oh, if you train like me, you would too.
Oh, yeah.
I like that one. It's really, really hard for women to get that muscular. So if you're that nervous about it, either you are very uninformed or you're kind of a narcissist where it's like, no, you have to be.
I was working on my goal when I turned 40 was to have abs. And you've seen the pictures from when I was training and I was so close. Like, I mean,
you showed me.
If I had... That's right. You're like, look at my abs. I miss my abs. But if I had actually dehydrated myself, I probably could have made them pop. And this person was like, that's gross. Women shouldn't have abs. I'm like, first of all, we all have abs. Yeah. It's just whether or not they're covered up by fat, Anyway.
Second of all, surround yourself by people that are encouraging you and not people that are like, ew.
Ew. Yeah. Yeah. Move along then.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't do it for you.
So on a kind of funnier note, I will tell a story here. So one of my other icks is, I don't know if you ever noticed that some people, when they're talking, they get spit right here and it doesn't go away. It just
like pools. I know.
Or it's in the corner of their mouth right here. It's all white. It's gross. And you're going, when you're talking, because you just want them to
try to influence them to do it.
Like, yeah, like mimic me. Pick up on what I'm putting down. Anyways, I was on a date with somebody and he had that thing. Oh. And he was standing there talking to me. And I remember we were just going for like a walk for this date. And he's like, do you want supper? I'll cook supper if you want to stay and continue. And I was like, I have family reunion.
Yeah. It's like, don't you even dare try to kiss me.
I didn't have a family reunion.
Yeah. I'm just getting away from you.
I lied. I need it out. So that fully meets with the ick thing. Like I need it. No.
What would that be? Like just an over salivate?
I don't know. Blech.
Yeah, it's a little gross.
It's
an ick for me too.
How do you not feel that there?
Right? Wouldn't that drive you nuts?
I don't know. I feel like that might be a dehydration thing.
Well, you're over salivating for a reason.
I'm doing this a lot. It's like, have you ever been talking to somebody and they'll do this? And you think, oh, do I have something? They're just doing it because they have an itch. But immediately I think, oh, yeah, what? I appreciate it if somebody tells me that I have something going on.
And actually straight up say it. Like, hey, you should do this. Yeah. Don't just hint at it. Like, tell them.
Yeah. I remember a guy in high school saying his was eye crud. I'm like, the word crud is so... This is... Okay, we should put a disclaimer that this episode might be kind of gross.
Might be triggering.
Yeah, it might...
bother you. My cats get eye crud sometimes,
Yeah.
and I have to clean it off. And people, that grosses me out. My cats, it's fine.
See, it grosses me out when my dog has anything too. I let my
Yeah, but
husband clean that
then
up.
cats, I find cat eye crud and dog eye crud are very different.
I'm going to be
Like,
nauseous by the end of this episode.
Yeah. The dog, so like my ex-husband's dog,
Yeah.
her eye crud was disgusting.
Oh.
It was like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was like gloopy. And
No, it's
my cat's eye crud is the teeniest, tiniest little hard thing, and it's just like not a big
This
deal.
is like when if you have pets or you have children. It's one thing to clean up after your own children. Yeah. It's another thing versus other children. When I'm cutting kids' hair and they sneeze and they like, okay. But if it was my daughter, I would clean her up. Like it's different when it's your own pet or your own child. Was that for that one? I think so. But my friend, I want to give my friend out west like an acronym or a nickname on here, just so I can stop saying my friend out west.
Yeah.
I'm going to think of a name for you.
Yeah.
Or text me and tell me what you want me to call you.
Just let her know what you want her to call.
I'm going to call her Strawberry Shortcake for right now. Yeah. So I was talking Strawberry Shortcake, and I asked her, but she was like thinking about it, and I texted her what her icks were, and she's like, "Yep." I'm like, "I know you too well. Why did I ask you?"
Yeah.
But for us, because we've talked about this before, because we grew up together, so we were dating at the same time, and it's any kind of dental issues, like unclean teeth, bad breath, inflamed gums.
Mm-hmm. Discoloration to the point where it's like, that's rotten.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, I get people have
anything we say that comes off as mean. This is completely a superficial episode. Right. We're just sharing with like what, and honestly, some women, their icks I can't relate to. Like for some women, an ick would be, oh, he doesn't have his own car. I'm like, okay, I have a car, he can go in mine. So like everybody's different, and this is just personal stuff.
Yeah, this is supposed to be just for fun anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So like dental hygiene is important. Whether your teeth are straight, if it's like
no, I don't care. But
super crooked, I'm like meh.
Sometimes crooked can be cute.
I don't have the straightest teeth either. I had braces and I didn't wear my retainers because I was a teenager, so of course I didn't. So they moved, and if I had all the money, like we talked in one of our other episodes, I had the freedom, I would get them done. I'd probably get some veneers done. Yeah. Because I don't love my teeth, but they're clean. They are clean. They're all there. Yeah. And I go to the dentist once a year. Yeah. And, they're pretty good. But yeah, if you have like huge gaps because you've had to get them taken out, or they're like black and they're like...
It's hygiene in general though, right?
Hygiene in general,
if like body odor would be an ick, and like, shower, brush your teeth.
Again,
like, put
you
your
watch the last episode,
forward.
Please brush your teeth.
Please brush your teeth. Do you think we can get like a dentist to sponsor us? Maybe we could get like Lou&Sue toothbrushes. Yeah. That'd be cool. We'd hand them out. I don't know who we'd hand them out to. I don't know who we're handing them to, but people, just our fans, all three of you are getting toothbrushes. Okay. I have picky eaters down too. That's an ick for me.
Yeah, so when she said that, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I guess I'm not that
No,
picky.
I'm talking about when I first met my ex-husband. His diet consisted of chicken fingers, chicken burgers, French fries. I think that was like pretty much all he would eat. And he didn't like mayo. He didn't like any salad dressings, so he wouldn't eat a salad. And ketchup was like the only condiment he liked. He didn't like mustard either. Yeah, since then he's really broadened.
Like I don't like mustard on like my hot dogs, for example, which I don't really eat hot dogs anymore either, so it doesn't really matter. But I've grown to like it in some like forms. Sometimes in a burger, sometimes. Anyways, yeah. But I guess I'm not that picky because I've warmed up to some things. I'm like, okay, no, that works. But I'm also not a cook, so I don't always know what's supposed to work. So if it's introduced properly to me,
that's right.
Then
I'm a cook, and so I want to use a lot of different ingredients. So if you're with somebody who's a super picky eater, maybe that's just not something you're going to be able to do together. So
Yeah.
for me, that was a big deal. Whereas if you're not really a cook, I guess it wouldn't matter because you're probably going to a restaurant
Yeah.
and they can order what they want and you order what
Yeah.
you want. So,
But I've heard of people having like, if their food touches each other food on their
Yeah.
plate, that's an ick thing for them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you have Thanksgiving dinner then? Like
I know.
everything's got to be all over, like gravy on everything.
The best mouthful is the one that has a
Got a
little
little bit
bit of everything on it, including
Yeah.
the gravy.
Now I tend
Yeah.
to take like a bite of each kind of thing. Is
Mhm.
kind of like how I do things.
Yeah.
But I like the end where you just kind of scoop everything on your fork.
That's why
That's
turkey
good.
dinner poutine is like my death row meal because it's got everything.
So good.
We got to do an episode on death row. Well, we can't really do a whole episode on death row meals. But anyway,
Well,
I find that really interesting.
Yeah, that was our whole episode on death row meals. There
Yeah.
you go. I don't know what mine would be. Probably something like that too, because that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Have you never had turkey dinner poutine before?
No, not an official one.
Oh, you are so coming to my house someday for a turkey dinner poutine.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I will
It's a
do
date.
that.
Also, the way somebody
Okay,
eats.
so complete opposite.
Oh.
If a guy wants to cook for me, that's like my red or green flag.
That's my red flag.
Not
You
red.
are not.
That's not red. Green flag. Please cook for me. I can eat. I can
eat.
cook. That's not what I meant to say. I can cook for myself so I can eat because I have to eat. But I don't enjoy the cooking process. So if you're going to cook for me, that's like a way into my heart. That's how they say a lot of men are like that.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not because I love food so much. It's like, no, I just don't want to cook myself.
But you know what, though? I find there's more and more men all the time that cook now.
Yes.
And it used to be a generation ago, it was the women who cooked typically.
And don't they say like the men, because it's a more rare thing, the men that cook do it so well?
I don't know. My husband's an amazing cook, which kind of annoys me because I like to cook. So we we almost fight over the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I could just loan him to you once in a while, you know.
I'll just borrow you and then you get to cook.
Oh, well, there you go.
That works.
I'm making it.
Nothing against her husband, just, you know. I know her.
No, thank you.
Really know him.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, but also the way they eat.
Yeah.
So people are either going to love this episode or absolutely hate it because I'm very animated about this topic.
I hope you love this.
You ever notice when people are eating, they're like shovel? I'm like, it's not a shovel, it's a spoon or it's a fork, you know? But having said that, my dad only had one arm. I think I've mentioned that before. So he couldn't like cut a steak. So growing up, we would watch my dad eat. He would always cut everything with a fork. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember if mom put knives on the table, but as kids, we learned by watching our dad. So I would never use a knife. I always cut everything with a fork. Mm-hmm. And I tend to eat a little bit more like a guy, I eat quickly because I watched my dad. So I wonder if I've ever been an ick for somebody that way, just because like I'm kind of like
I'm sure we have things that are ick for people. It depends on who
you've seen me
right?
eat though. I eat fast.
Yeah, but I don't care how you eat, so I'm not even paying attention. Slow. I tend to eat slow.
Do you ever see those TikToks where the husband tries to match
yes, eating? And the other way around?
She's
trying to match him, and she's like, "Oh my god, like I can't do this."
I could totally
I think
do that.
Funny. Yeah, you could.
I
could attempt it, but I probably would. If I eat too fast, I get the hiccups too.
I'm actually jealous of the women that eat slow because they look like they're really enjoying it.
Yeah, until things cool off though too fast though.
Yeah, but
sometimes it sucks eating slow.
That's an ick for me that has nothing to do with another person.
Yeah.
Wet, slimy food, cold food.
Ugh, slop.
Yeah, slop. Ugh.
I have a problem with textures. A lot of my food pickiness is textures.
That's my daughter's the same way.
I
think a lot of people
I just can't get past it. Or if something smells bad when it's cooking, I can't do it. Like I was at a friend's place and they were cooking moose hamburger.
Oh, that does stink.
And it stinks, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even care if it tastes good. There's no way that my taste buds will recognize if it tastes good because of how it's stuck in my head.
So when you're pregnant,
which is probably why I can't do fish.
It's super heightened.
Yeah.
And I can remember being sick when my husband was grilling a hamburger. The smell of the meat made me sick. And it's never ever since. It just when you're pregnant, everything's heightened.
Yeah.
So I couldn't eat red meat when I was pregnant. I couldn't eat fish. I couldn't, like certain things would just, couldn't handle it. Also, having 3 older brothers, I was not really able to ever overpower them in a fight. So my fighting was more like mental. and my oldest brother got gagged very easily. And we always ate supper as a family. And so if he had picked on me that day, I would wait till we were all eating. And he hated if you mentioned bugs or worms or anything like that at the table, he'd leave. So we'd be eating and I would just go, wow, this spaghetti looks like worms. And he would just go,
so mean.
And he would just slam his fork down and leave. And it was great. And so anyway.
It worked.
It worked.
It worked.
So I was such a jerk.
You grew up with a bunch of boys. You kind of had to figure out how to be a jerk.
It's true. Yeah. Or I would threaten to tell them what their Christmas gifts were. And sometimes I did. It's mean.
That's mean.
Yeah. Socks with sandals.
That used to bother me so much. And then I kind of stopped really caring. But I think it bothered me again.
Yeah, I think just in general, clothing that is either dirty or has holes in it.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
do you not care about?
Yeah. Do you not notice?
And I don't need it to be like, you don't have to be.
It doesn't have to be designer clothing.
Perfectly, exactly. Yeah. Like super well dressed, but it's like, there's a huge stain on that.
See, that's one of those things
disgusting. Or like you have mustard on your shirt, like change your shirt.
There's a lot of women out there that would see a man's shoes and not date him. Like they're very judgmental on.
Yeah, I don't care about.
I don't care either. But if your stuff's not clean, then I'm going to take that as you're not clean,
or there's a bunch of holes and like you just don't care to replace certain items.
And that's not just for dating. My husband had a big hole in his sock the other day, and I was like, "Why haven't you thrown that out?"
Oh, the socks and sandals things was my dad.
Really?
My dad did. Oh my God! I'm like, don't do that. You're not allowed to do that. Did he pull his
socks up?
Well, that was the problem. He pulled it up. And then my ex-husband was even worse about it. Like his socks were almost to his knees. And I'm like, I think that's what I did. I'm like, I have to not care about this or else I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah. There's the joy in letting things go too.
Yeah.
But if your tan line as a man goes from here to like here.
Yeah.
Why?
Take your socks off. And
wear knee pads so that none of it's tan.
I did that. Funny story. I accidentally did that one year. I did not mean to.
You wore knee pads?
No.
Oh.
I got that knee tan line. I had capri pants like the beginning of spring, like we had a nice day. So my tan line, I guess you can kind of see it if you're watching, was from right underneath my knee down, and I was probably wearing sandals and no socks with my sandals. And then we went to Toronto and we went to Blue Jays game, and my thighs got burnt. Oh. Because it was so hot in Toronto.
Yeah.
So I didn't get my knees though. So the rest of that summer I had white kneecaps. And I couldn't quite even it out. It was a little funny. I did not do it on purpose. And it's not because I had socks. It's because I just burnt my thigh.
That was like my biggest fear before the wedding, and part of the reason why I picked April was because I didn't want to have any tan lines. And for your wedding, it was really bad.
Yeah.
Because I had to go till what was it, July?
Yeah.
22nd, I think.
Yeah.
I had to go till July 22nd, being very careful not to have any kind of like tan lines.
Yeah.
I don't know why I cared so much, but anyways, I really cared.
I cared because it was my wedding, and you
were strapless though too.
Exactly. So anytime I went outside, I'm like, "Hey, I gotta tuck my straps in," and it was so frustrating.
Yep.
But I never wanted a July wedding. I always wanted a fall wedding, which would have been the same problem though, because you would have gone through the whole summer.
Unless it was really late fall or something.
Unless it was really late fall, but I hold my tan a lot.
Yeah.
So it would affect me all winter a little bit, right? If I had crazy tan lines. So.
I think for your wedding, I did fake tan anyway though. So I don't know why I cared.
I considered doing that, and then I'm like, but no, because I'm the kind of person that, like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to get on my white dress, even though I know you wash it off.
Yeah, and you have it like...
I was in my head, I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. It's okay. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but I wanted to do the strapless because, like, Susan had suggested, she's like, you're never going to do it again. I should not have done strapless.
Sorry.
It's okay. I did
strapless. I didn't regret it.
Yeah, no, yours fit you differently. It was so hot for my wedding that the day before we lost like 10 pounds of water weight.
Yeah.
And my dress, literally 2 days before the wedding, was my final fitting, and it fit perfect. Yeah. And then we lost so much water weight because we sweated like crazy.
Honestly,
it was so hot, it didn't fit properly anymore.
It was the hottest day I remember in probably the last 5 years. Hot. And there was outdoor wedding, no air conditioning, in a tent, which basically was like a greenhouse.
It had a big
and
fan,
there was hardly any breeze. Yeah. It was just like, it was so brutal.
Hot, but it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
But it was so hot.
Yeah. But we survived. So it's all good.
Anyways, I'm not sure how quite.
I know this is ick.
But ick is like the crazy tan lines are ick. Like the major farmer's tan on one arm and that's it. I'm like,
oh, see, now I kind of like a farmer's tan.
Yeah,
because
well,
both
you know
my
what,
grandfathers were farmers.
I think I like that better than the guys walking around with like. Again, I'm sorry they call them the wife beaters, which there's a reason why they shouldn't. But the tank tops, and it's like,
I don't know if I could handle a tank top on a guy.
Unless you're super muscular, you can't get away with it.
No.
It's called a muscle shirt for a reason.
It's either a muscle shirt or it's pretty ghetto. Like it's like no.
I had a boyfriend that wore those a lot, and I never liked it.
Yeah,
he had some muscle, but not enough to make up for that. It was, and then he did the like the handkerchief thing on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Yeah, no.
It's a good thing he was good looking enough in the first place.
A handkerchief on the head. Okay.
Well, you know what I mean.
Like, I know what you mean. I just.
Especially with the tank top, it was like, I'm like, all right, that's your style.
That's okay.
I don't want anyone to tell me how to dress, so I didn't want to tell them how to dress, but I probably should have. But
oh wow,
yeah,
I don't tell my husband what to wear, other than like I said, if there's a hole in something or he's got like food on his shirt, which is 95% of the time.
I also prefer to make a big deal out of when I like something, so that they're like, okay, I like this. Do this more.
Yeah,
and that's, I think, the best way to approach.
I think a lot of us women buy clothing for our significant others for that reason, because we like to see them in it. But plus, or give them.
In general, guys don't care to buy their own stuff, which is why they end up with holes and everything.
They don't
because
shop.
If their mom's not buying it for them anymore, it turns out the girlfriend or wife that's our duty now.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. So just throw the socks out yourself.
Just throw them out. Just throw them out.
I don't know where they are.
I mean, look, what?
They're
not even covering your foot. So what's the point? I don't get it. Anyways, okay. What else do I have here? Oh, anime gaming.
Yeah. I don't, when like they're hardcore.
Yeah.
I don't mind. So my brother growing up played video games a little bit. That's okay. My ex-husband played video games a little bit. I thought it was fun. We did like a sports one. I was like, I want to play too. But it was so rare that it was ever played that's different. But like a full-blown gamer that's their whole life. I'm like, I just picture them in that like chair with all their snacks around them and just like filthy.
Yeah.
And everything about that is ick to me.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't so much the gaming, and these were lumped together, but the anime thing, I dated somebody once that, this was actually like in high school, that loved anime. And I don't know if I just was, I don't know. I guess I related it to cartoons too much. And I was like, I don't get it. Why? Like, you're kind of a grown up. So maybe, no. And even now though, I find it weird. Sorry if you like anime, but sorry. But I just can't do it. It's
not our style of thing.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Liars.
Especially when they're so bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, how obvious you are.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband and I were watching 90 Day Fiancé, and the guy that was being interviewed got called out on a lie. And it's recorded, so he's obviously going to be caught because she's going to be able to watch it. So like, already idiot. But when they call him out on it and she's sitting there, she goes to get up. She's all mad that she's discovered this. And he's like, what? No. What are we even talking about? And it's like, dude, you're busted.
Yeah.
And so then that is like so ick, because not only have you lied, but now you're trying to weirdly cover it up.
Yeah. Instead of just be like, okay, my bad.
Like, do you know how much more attractive it is to say like, okay, I didn't want you to get mad. So I said a lie. Okay. I lied.
Own up to it.
I'm going to be like, that sucks that you lied. Let's talk about that.
That's my ick thing in a relationship, where it's like accountability in general. And we've talked about this, and it's because if it changes the way I look at you.
Yes.
So my ex-husband would get, and I get it, he was an anxious person. So he would get all like worked up and try to figure out excuses that made sense, to the point where he believed them. And he would tell me, and they sounded so ridiculous and so stupid that I'm like, do you not know that I know you? And I know you just don't want to go do this thing. Stop making up all these things. But he did it to the point where he believed them.
Mm.
And I'm like, you don't even listen to yourself.
Yeah.
You know how stupid you sound?
It's,
But he was so, and again, like he was an anxious person. So I'm trying not to be too mean about it, but
yeah,
it sounded really stupid.
it's
like,
I think,
pay attention,
especially
to what
as
you're
women,
saying.
lying is
so
ick
bad.
because it's like, we understand that little boys lie to their moms, right? We're not your mom.
Yeah.
And when you lie to us, it makes us feel like you're afraid you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So that puts us in this position of being like your motherly figure. And
Yeah.
that's ick.
That's the ick.
So
yeah. We've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
like the guy that I dated that had like the tank tops, and
Mm.
so he started off good looking in our relationship, but when I started looking at him like he was a toddler because his personality, he started acting like a toddler, that became super ick. Like I could not look at him the same anymore. And that's the same way about liars. If somebody's straight up and I know that they lie to me, then I'm like, and then again couldn't own up to it. And I'm like, and you're arguing with me about your lie. Like, I'm sorry, I have a really good memory for that stuff. And if I don't remember, I will 100% agree, like admit that I'm like, okay, I don't remember. But if I know very vividly, this is what you said, because I had a reaction to it, so I know exactly what you said. Don't pretend that I'm making things up to make you out to be a liar. Like, you lied, you got caught, and now you can't own up.
That's right.
It.
So then at that point, then you're already a liar, but you're also insulting my intelligence. And my memory. So don't do that.
In general, men, you're gonna look a lot better if you just don't lie.
Yeah.
Or you own up to it.
And just own up to it too. Like, and a preemptive owning up to it. So before we even catch you would be even better. But and because you know what, at the end of the day, to some degree, everybody has lied or lies. Even if it's just you embellishing a story when you're reiterating a story to somebody because you want it to be a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, there are levels.
You know, there's levels.
Right?
And so everybody, you know, if we could have a little more grace for each other and realize that sometimes when you're that deer in the headlights, you can lie about something and it's something small, so you think it doesn't matter. The thing is, it does matter because it reflects on to, if you're going to lie to me about something small, you have the capability to lie to me about something big. That's how women hear that. That's how we interpret that. So just don't do it.
And I'm also such a terrible liar that I think that's part of it for me too. I'm like, what's the point? What's the point of lying and then trying to keep track of everything? And it's like, oh my goodness.
I think that, you know,
it's more work to lie.
Accountability starts with being accountable to yourself first, and then you're able to be accountable to other people. And it's something we all just need to work on, is like, you know, you can't change something that you don't acknowledge. So you really need to acknowledge it with yourself first.
That's true. Yeah.
So, that's a Dr. Philism right there. I love Dr. Phil. So tidiness in general was another one that's like,
so the coffee table that I had to clean up, that was not my mess, the snot rags, like the Kleenex and the Q-tips, like anything that has any kind of
bodily fluids
on it, that goes right in the garbage. I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that. Like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That was ick for me.
I don't understand. And I had this conversation this week. I love my job. I get to talk to men all day long and run this stuff by them and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand how I can be rushing around all morning for like an hour and a half, getting dishes done and all this stuff. And my husband stands there with his coffee, all like looking out the window, dreaming about his garden. Like, you don't notice that I'm like losing my mind. Anyway, and say, hey, is there something I can do for you? You know, and then I go into the living room and I'm picking up blankets, and it never occurs to him to pick up a blanket. And so I'm talking to my client about this, and he's like, yeah, I have this exact same argument with my wife. And she's like, don't you see it? They don't see it. No. And nor is it a priority for them to pick the blanket up and fold it. They don't care
if it's bother thrown. Them.
No,
if it's
if it's but not. For us, fold the blanket. Right?
Well, I think the ick is the not taking any kind of pride in your surroundings. It's like, really, you don't want things to be like nice and organized. I'll go through. Okay, so I have some OCD in me, which probably could be an ick for somebody, because it's like, but having so like a body wash, for example, in the shower with the lid up and getting all like messy. That's
the soap dries on the top.
Oh, that's disgusting to me. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
So, but I just clean it off and then I shut the lid because sometimes it's like, well, if he doesn't care, why would he do that?
Sometimes it is about choosing your battles, and if it's not, it's not a deal breaker.
No,
it's a preference.
not. But it's So it's same with like, and then I have to face it out because it's got to be facing the right way. I get it.
If any of you have
some of
ever
that stuff's a
seen
little extreme, and I'll do it myself. I'll fix it because it's easier. But
the movie Sleeping with the Enemy, where he makes her turn all the cans. Anyways, yes, yeah. It's there's certain things that we've talked about this stuff before too, but like there's certain things like that bother one person and don't bother another, and sometimes it's the weirdest things that really at the end of the day don't matter. I put a hook in our kitchen to hang our towels on, our dish towels, because I find they dry better, and I hate when they're folded over the front of the stove because number one, I don't really want to see them. They're not cute. And also they slip off the metal and they fall on the floor and then they get dirty. So I hang them up there. My husband's still putting them on the stove sometimes. Mm-hmm. Is it the end of the world? No. Mm-hmm. Does it bother me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a preference thing.
It's a preference
thing. That's where
thing.
like I put this hook here for a reason. Mm-hmm. Utilize it.
Yeah, I don't know if I've even told them
that concept. I get, but it's still that's just a preference thing. That's not a deal breaker. That's not a full blown ick. That's just like a ugh.
Yeah.
You got ick and then you got ugh.
Which one's worse? Ick or ugh?
Ick.
Okay. Ick's worse.
The ugh is going to be like the okay. Well.
Okay.
I'll close the lid or I'll face it the right way. That's an ugh for me. I can live with it. It still bugs me.
Okay. Sorry. I can't. Have you ever seen that movie?
I don't think so.
Okay. You need to watch it.
We're learning. Okay. I am learning by doing these podcasts how many movies that I have not seen.
Or how many I have.
Or how many you have. I feel like all the ones that you're saying are classic movies, so I've heard of them.
They are, yeah. Yeah. Well, I go through periods where I'll think of a movie that I've heard of before and it's a classic and I've never seen it. Okay. And a lot of times I'll watch those alone and they end up being really, really good. Like you hear Sophie's Choice mentioned all the time in reference to things. And I was always like, I don't know what they're talking about.
I've still never seen that one.
It is,
but I've heard so many references.
Good movie, but it's so devastating, the plot of it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those movies
which is why I don't want to watch it. Because I'm like, I've heard so many references to it. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
It is. Anyway. Totally not on topic. I remember when I was dating, one of the things that was always in my profile as like, you know, how you list like wants this, doesn't want that, blah, blah, blah. Which by the way, for men, I've heard this, their ick, if they're dating, is on a woman's profile. It's like, don't be this, don't be that. I don't like this. Because it comes off as like the person's bossy.
Okay. Yeah.
They would rather the girl's profile be more like, I am this and I am that, you know, tell me about you. Don't tell me what I shouldn't be. Because that's what dating's for, is to figure that out. But I always did have that snoring was a deal breaker because I'm such a light sleeper. The irony is, my husband has sleep apnea. Yeah. But he does have a machine. So anyways. And also that's, again, I thought that was a deal breaker, not just a preference for me.
Turns out,
when you love somebody.
When you make me laugh as much as you make me laugh, I might oversee the snoring.
He's not a liar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he can snore. Also, the machine really does help.
It counteracts.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Another one that people were mentioning was relationship with their family members. For example, their mothers or fathers, siblings. Like if they have a bad relationship with them, it's kind of a bit of a, not necessarily an ick, but a little bit of a red flag maybe. Like
it can be.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that. Like
that's a tricky one.
People have always said, like, I think watch how he treats his mother.
The ick for me would be if they're too close.
Yeah.
Like the too close relationship is like, you see, okay, so you'll see this in TV shows or in, like I'm watching White Lotus right now, and in the first season, like they're on their honeymoon, and then his mom joined them on their honeymoon.
Oh no!
Like that's a ick. Like no. If you don't have it, like if you have a distant relationship with them, that's like okay. I got to know what the reason is. But if they're too close, it's like no, man, mama's boy. It's too much. Too much.
That's definitely too much.
That's an ick. But I think you see that in movies and TV more than you'll see it in real life because they're just like over exaggerating it. But if that were a situation, that would be a big ick for me. It's like, no.
I won't go into a lot of details, but I do feel like in some ways I was married to the family. like not just my husband.
Yeah.
In my previous relationship, I definitely feel like there was some apron strings that needed to be cut a little bit more. And I didn't feel like it was 100% my own life.
Yeah.
I was living their life with their son.
Yeah.
And it's still their life with their son. And, you know, now they have a wonderful granddaughter, but, you know.
To me, that's a problem.
Yeah. It was a problem because we were not able to just break off and start our own lives together. Yeah. And I always felt that they had that opportunity to have their own children and raise them. And it was my turn. And I never got that turn. Mm-hmm. And that was a big reason why we're not together anymore. Mm-hmm. So I love them. I think they're wonderful people. Yeah. But I didn't want to be married to them. Yeah. So, so that's definitely can be a red flag / an ick. Mm-hmm. And on that note, also relationship phobic and too burned to move on. So like, you know,
that bothers me too. I'm not somebody who lives in the past at all. Like I move on. Like, you know, it's not serving me to be dealing with it. But I get real annoyed when people will not let go. Like you hear people. Wow, words aren't working. You hear people complaining about people holding grudges and stuff like that.
Not just in relationships, but like in general too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you're going through something, I get it. You got to process it. You got to go through it. And I'll repeat myself sometimes, and I'm scared of being annoying because I'm repeating myself, but I'm processing it. Mm-hmm. Once I process it like it's gone. Yeah. It's gone, and you got to move on. And no one wants to hear this anymore. Like we'll listen to it while we're dealing with it, but then it's like you gotta grow from it. You gotta learn from it. You gotta not repeat it. But if you're constantly doing the same thing and you can't ever let it go. And again, that's not an ick thing for me. That's just really annoying, and I feel bad for the person. I think more than anything else because it's like, let it go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let it go. I think, or at least move on from it. Like, letting it go is like easier said than done sometimes, and you don't always have to let it go. But stop living in it.
The guy that told me that gave me that one, he is dating right now, and he's like, that would be, especially on a first date, that's a red flag for him. If the girl's like, either tells him too much about the last one or whatever and is burned, or is like, you know what, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Because then he's like, okay, whoa. See, like, are they stalking you? Did you change your, like, right. You know, you kind of.
But that's what I was wondering too, because there's a certain amount of, part of it is I want to know a little bit of why the relationship didn't work, because that's part of how I'm going to get to know you. But at the same time, I don't want you to sit there and bash the person. Like, that's not solving anything
either. There's a fine line there probably between the two, but also that, like, maybe that doesn't have to be, I don't know, maybe we're taking dating too seriously, and maybe dating can be a little bit more lighthearted, especially for the first date, right?
Oh yeah, at the beginning for sure. But I had, part of my, situation with my ex-husband was that he wouldn't talk about exes at all. And I get that you don't really want to hear about the other person's ex, whatever, their relationships and stuff, but like, to a certain extent, once you're already years into the relationship, sometimes it's relevant to talk about certain experiences, and sometimes it's relevant to be like, this is why this is a problem for me, or this is why I want this, or whatever, right? Like, that doesn't have to be specifically like focusing too much on the past relationship. But we couldn't talk about any of that stuff, which kind of bugged me.
I think in an ideal partner, you want somebody who's going to be able to be open and share.
And that's my thing.
And so it's a little bit of a, oof, if they're not willing to talk about things at all. Yeah. I get them not wanting to live in the past and harp on it. But if they can't share at all, then that's also.
Yeah. Like, are you hiding something, or are you just, then you start wondering.
Yeah. Then when in our future, if we have a future together, are you going to be able to open up about, family issues that you had in the past, or past hurts or traumas that you've had that help me get to know who you are, so I can get closer to you, because that intimacy is developed through me knowing what you've been through, and what made you.
That's something I feel like I've never really had, was like the true intimacy where I really, really know somebody. I feel like I could really, and I've known them, but like through and through, and like fully be able to be completely myself with them as well, and not have like certain things where I'm like, well, this doesn't get responded to very well. Yeah. So like, I'll close that off a little bit. So So that's a thing that I don't have much experience with. But for me, that was kind of a thing. I'm like, why is there any barriers for anything?
Yeah.
There should be no barriers.
Right. Yeah, that one's definitely more of, I think, of a red flag than an ick for sure.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, we were like, well, I had that written down as one of our title options was deal breakers, icks, and red flags, and like the, or the lack thereof.
I want to, and please put in the comments if you have, suggestions for this, but I kind of want to do a red flag, green flag episode.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a lot of fun.
It would too. And I'll have to do more interviewing because I really like asking guys what theirs are. I know that, like, I'll give you like a few of the ones I heard too, where like too much filters used on pictures because they can tell, especially if you have dog ears in it, like you clearly don't. One of them was too much makeup.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what
because
they were.
you're hiding and you're like, what do they call it? Catfishing.
Yeah.
And I can see that.
Yeah,
I mean, I wear makeup all the time, and I find I look very different because I wear like dark eye makeup, and if I don't, then I find I look very different. So I get it, but it's just like having a profile picture of your beard, which is really cool, and then looking at other pictures, and it's like, oh, you look very different without it. So I get that. I totally get that.
I mean, one of the dates that my husband went on before he met me, I asked him why it didn't work out. I think it was like the most recent one that he had been on. And he's like, oh, we only had one date. I said, well, why did you only have one date? And he said something about like, and I'd have to clarify with him, but it was like everything about her, he felt that she was very money driven. It was one of those women who have like a designer purse that they don't sit on the floor. They sit it on the table. And like everything about her just was like what didn't align with sort of who he was.
Yeah.
And knowing him better now, it wasn't shallow. It was just that she was too high maintenance.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put that. And he could just tell. And so that was a red flag for him or an ick for him. Also being rude to wait staff. Or the people that are on a
deal with
date.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad tippers is big for me because I've always worked in tipping industries. Yeah. I've been a hairdresser for 23 years. Yeah. So if you're a bad tipper, that's definitely going to be a ugh for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being rude to them, which to me they go together. So
getting angry quickly with situations. So like road rage.
Yeah.
And it's like
that's a good one.
So I got a kind of funny story for that, and I loved it. It was like instant karma. It was wonderful. So this person, I won't even say who it is, but this person had a problem with people like driving too close behind them. And it was so frustrating because I'm like, just stop looking at your rearview mirror. Why are you worrying about this? And which, I mean, you understand because you end up with the chips in front, and that's a problem with people.
I can't stand tailgating.
Yeah.
Can't. So not tailgating. What's that called?
I think so. If they're behind you.
Whatever it's called, you know what I mean? Like they're
tailgating. If they're behind you, they're
tailgating was eating at a football game.
I'm not sure. Anyways, whatever
you know what we mean.
I think that's what it's called. We're driving too, like, up on your butt, basically. So the person was driving slower on purpose because you're like, you're gonna ride my whatever. I'm just gonna drive slow. But we're going to a store, and the person behind us was clearly late for work because when we went to open the door was closed. And then the car pulled in, and then so instant karma, right? Well, we can't go to that store.
Oh, guess we're not shopping there. That's awesome.
So I loved it because that was my first reaction. I'm like, you don't even know who this person is. Yep. Why are you playing this game? Like being frustrated about it is one thing, but playing the game. Yep. Why are you playing? Why are you slowing down? You're just making things worse. This person is late for work. That's why they're like in a rush to get there. Not that that's necessarily safe to be driving that close up to somebody, but they were late for work. Yeah. And you made them more late for work. Yeah. Where you were trying to go.
And also, why were they in a hurry in the first place? Like, cool off, man. Yeah. Calm down. Calm down.
Yeah, we have another one where
that drives me crazy.
Podcast about slowing down.
Yep. And you know what's funny is that you and I both, we're like hardly ever late. If we're late, it's something happened. If I'm 5 minutes late and I don't message her, she's probably worrying because we're always on time. Yeah. If we're saying that we are not like that and we're always on time, you need to get up earlier. You need to leave the house sooner. If you're in a hurry like that, that's on you. That's not on anybody else.
We have somebody at work that's always late and always has the stupidest excuses.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, you can't always blame your kid because there's other people that work here that have kids and they get here on time. And guess what? When you were late all March break, it was March break.
Yeah.
There was no school. But again, it's the will not take accountability. Always has excuses for everything.
Everything is somebody else's fault.
So frustrating because it's like, no, man, like this is your problem.
Yep.
And then always worked up about everything. And it's like, yeah, but then you keep making the same mistakes because you keep blaming it on everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating. But then also, to me, it's a lack of respect if you're going to be late. If you're going to make me sit here, and especially so me and her were early, right? But I know you've had friends that is always late. So you know I'm an early person. So I'm already waiting here longer.
Yeah.
The whole time. If I'm waiting for the 10 minutes that I'm early, that's cool. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
But once it's that time and you're supposed to be meeting me, now you're late.
Yeah.
Now you're disrespectful of my time. And I work in a car dealership. So, not a car dealership. I work in a dealership is what I'm saying. So when people make appointments to come in, I get really annoyed when they're late because, again, 5 minutes, that's fine. But when they're like 45 minutes late, how do you know if I don't have another appointment?
Yeah.
So it's a lack of respect. And if you're calling me and something happened, I get it. Like I'm stuck in traffic, like something, whatever. Okay, fine. But to not even tell me why you're going to be like, that's just it's a respect thing.
Yep.
So disrespecting is a problem for me.
Yeah, on any level.
On any level.
I
Because
agree.
it's so easy to send in a quick text like, so sorry, I'm on my way.
That's the thing.
It's
Nowadays,
so easy.
it's not like you have to go find a payphone.
But I'm sitting here waiting and you have no concept that you're like making me sit here and wait.
Yeah, and I was just telling Lou one of the dates I went on once, this guy, I swear it's because he just loved his car so much. He was trying to make me notice that he was driving a BMW, but which not a superficial person, don't care. So you're wasting it on me. But we met at this restaurant and we both had our cell phones on us. I got out of my car, didn't know what he was driving or who to look for really. And he messages me, I'm in my car. So he can see me standing behind his car in his rearview mirror and waits there so I can see what he's driving. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm here. He said, yeah, I know, I can see you. Are you getting out? Like, what do you want? Like, I don't care about your car. I would have been more impressed by you meeting me. So I'm not standing in a parking lot.
This is funny because we've probably talked about this before, but her and I just recently got our dream vehicles. And mine is a Jeep and hers is a Bronco. Yeah. Like, we don't have the girly, fancy dreams. Like, we like the
big chunky cars.
Big chunky cars. So that might be an ick where like we're both girly, but we're not super girly.
Yeah.
Like, we're feminine without being super girly. Like, I know I actually just recently went on a date and I kind of already knew I was like
Extreme, alternative. Yeah.
I'm very tattooed, which you don't see because I'm always wearing sweaters. But if you're watching on YouTube, I recently did a side shave, mostly because my hair was so damaged that I kind of had to, but I really like it. I think it's fun. But I'm otherwise girly. Like, that's the extent of my alternative in general.
And also, that's just appearances.
It's appearances, yeah, but I'm not butchy. Like, I'm not, I don't know. I'm still girly otherwise.
Yeah.
So I understand I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But I was, like, annoyed that I'm like, why did you ask me out on a date if I was very clear about this is who I am? This is important to me. This is what I like to do. And if you want a little, short, little, feminine little girl like a doll, I'm not a doll. That's not going to be me.
Yeah.
So don't even bother.
But he like belittled you over your car a little bit, too.
Well, he did. He made fun of like the Jeep because he was
like, that's your dream car?
I'm like, yeah, well, it is. And I have it. So shouldn't that be like a good for you versus, but again, everyone's different.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't care about cars.
I think talking down to somebody though is an ick factor though in general. Like, instead of, even if he didn't think that was a cool car, like, oh, that was your dream and you made it happen. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
End of story.
You don't know me well enough to make fun of me for it.
And you know what? You are not getting another date.
Nope.
So that happened. So that was pretty much all I had. Other than sense of humor, that's a big one.
If you're watching on YouTube, this is my date. And he gets extra dates whenever he wants.
Is it Nick factor that his arms are so short?
No, it's the coolest thing ever. I love it. It'll never not be funny.
Her two cats were fighting when I came in today. And I was like, this is really, the female cat has regular length arms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is sort of an unfair advantage because she can swat. It's Link, right?
Link, yeah.
She can swat Link.
Easily, but he'll still try.
Yeah,
which is the best thing ever. He'll try to wrap his arms
good on
around
him.
her, and
He does not give up.
He's persistent.
He's also the cuddlier. Like you'll probably
he's also
never
probably
see
the
her.
only one you'll ever see on this podcast. Yeah,
yeah,
but that's okay.
Yeah.
Another reason, if you're not watching on YouTube, you really should, because he's the cutest. I got the cutest kitty cats.
They're very.
And
aesthetic.
I could be very aware that an ick factor could be like I have my hair is damaged, so it doesn't fall out, but it breaks off, and I have hair extensions, and I have 2 cats. I vacuum. It's not that I don't vacuum, but there will always be hair everywhere. I could very much admit that would be an ick for someone.
Well, for my husband, me having cats at all was an ick factor.
Yeah,
he doesn't like cats.
Yeah,
and it was almost enough to be a deal breaker. Like in fact,
I was gonna say that would be an ick for me. If you can't handle that,
but and he's a dog person. I love both. I don't like have a preference. So, but for me at this point in my life, I'd rather have no pets. So, things like that can change with time too. That's the other thing is like. I was watching a video on this before when I was getting prepared for it. And one of the things that she says, I don't remember her name at all. She was a psychologist. And she's like, ick factors sometimes stem from traumas.
Yeah. And
sometimes icks are for you to get over, not for the other person.
Yeah.
So having said that, I have tried to listen to the ASMRs to reduce my sensitivity to smacking and things. It does not work. It is what it is. However, I breathe. I do breathing techniques, and I don't say anything, and I try because I know that it's my problem.
Because you're not a rude person, and you know that if you say something, then it's rude because it's like you're not doing it on purpose. If someone's being disrespectful, that's different. But
having said that, if my husband does it, then I do say something to him.
Yeah, well, he's your husband.
But so just, and I have to be honest because he would, correct me on that. But anyway.
Yeah, so those were
that was an easy hour. We could have kept going.
That was fun, yeah. So we're gonna do more things like that. But like I said, I want to do the red flag, green flag. I think would be a fun one too. But
so help us out with that if you have any more.
If you have some, and you know what, I think that would be a lot of fun to read your icks.
If I was still on social media, I think I would make a post and ask that question, like, what are your guys' red flags? What are your green flags? What are your icks? And also I like the idea of coming at from a positive side, whereas like, okay, what are the green flags? What are this is awesome, let's do this. Like, instead of focusing on like, I don't like that, what do I like,
So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that on our Instagram. We'll do the red flag, green flag. So like, tell us what your ideas are on that. What's green and what's red. And we'll try to add that into our video as well, because I think that would be a lot of fun. Yeah. We'll have our own, and then we'll kind of add our viewers.
And what's your death row meal?
And here you go. What's your death row meal?
I'm always interested in that.
Yeah. Now I really want a Thanksgiving poutine.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll make it happen
right now.
Good Friday. We're having a turkey dinner. I'll have you over.
I'm getting tattooed that day. That would be a good day to have that.
Yeah. You can come. Your adrenaline is going to be coming
Once
down.
it's all drained and I'm like exhausted, get all this comfort food, that would be
just
perfect.
Don't smack or I'll have to slap you.
No, I'll be very careful.
Okay.
I don't want to do that to you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So from us to you,
keep growing and glowing.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching our podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and follow us on our social media at Lou&Sue Podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. See you next week.